In this episode of the More Members Now podcast, you get to go behind the scenes to listen to a conversation between Micah Mitchell, founder of Membarium, and Scott Whitaker as they discuss several tips for running a successful membership site.
Hey everybody, it's Micah with the Membership Site Success Show, and today we get the pleasure of talking with Scott Whitaker, who's been doing membership sites and doing services in the membership business and running some of his own for about 20 years now. And Scott's agreed to come and share some insights. Specifically, I wanted to have him on because he's got a lot of great information on why people quit. And then I also want to dive into something that he calls the 7 systems of growing a membership site business, because those will help with all those reasons people quit. But like I said, he's been doing this for so long. I think he's got a wealth of knowledge to share, and I'm excited to have him. So Scott, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Micah, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be with you and with all of our listeners today. I'm looking forward to what we'll be able to share and help build membership sites, build membership businesses as a result of today's podcast.
Cool. So let's start off maybe if you can tell me just a little bit about your business, kind of how you got started and where you are today.
Yeah, so I've been involved in membership businesses since really around 1997. I got involved in the nonprofit world, actually started out as a pastor. And as most people know, like churches are built off of membership. And so I did that for a while. And then I got involved in a coaching network that was for pastors. And it was a coaching network led by my good friend Nelson Searcy. And he was coaching about 72 pastors and it was doing really well. And we struck up a friendship and he said, hey, why don't you come on board and get involved and start helping build this business? I think we've got an opportunity to take this and impact a lot more people than just 72 people. So he and I started together in about 2007 and did that until 2016, where we built the business basically from 72 pastors to over 3,000 pastors. And it was the largest coaching network in its niche. And it's still going today. Nelson and I are still friends. And but I decided, you know what, I think I could do this not just for this business over here with Nelson, but I probably could do this for membership businesses regardless of their niche, utilizing what I call the 7 systems. And they really exist in every membership business. We'll dig down in that a little bit later, but that's how I got started in this. And that's where I'm at now. I provide coaching and online resources to help people grow their membership business, keep people from quitting, and increase retention.
Very cool. Thank you. So I have a couple questions about that experience, if you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, go ahead. You can ask anything you want, man. It is an open book, so go for it.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So question for you, is there anything, I know you've got some things that you probably advocate for most membership businesses. Is there anything that you feel was pretty unique that you guys did to grow that from 72 to over 3,000?
Anything that was unique. I mean, we did take a systematic approach, which is what I coach others on. And it's something that I've not seen other membership businesses or other coaching businesses really build off of. So that would be the unique thing that then I'm now applying for other membership businesses. So in the way of building that business, we did look at it from a very systematic approach of how we can do what we do without having to guess at it, being able to implement a systematic approach and then go to work on those systems to then continue to build and increase it.
Gotcha. So what you're saying is most businesses, and I might be jumping ahead, but I feel like most of the clients I have, and even my experiences, have not been that systematic. I mean, we're aware of some things, but it's more just kind of like trial and error and do your best and try to learn some best practices. So you're saying you guys were really just a lot more deliberate about it.
Yeah, I mean, we were deliberate about it, and we looked at what are those systems in place, and then let's go to work on it and let's continue to tweak it and to build it. So, like, part of my foundational belief is that growing businesses, okay, not just membership businesses, but growing businesses and healthy businesses are built off of systems. I mean, you can look at Fortune 500, even Fortune 100 companies. And like there are systems in place that they operate off of, and they're growing because of it. And so as a membership business owner, what are those systems in your business that exist regardless of the niche? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're, in the health industry, the business coaching industry, or you're providing online courses or what. I mean, there are systems at play in your business, whether you recognize them or not. And your business is only going to be as strong as your weakest system. So whatever that weakest system is, like that is where the threat is for your membership business.
Gotcha. So here's another question for you about that previous experience. What, because it sounds like you knew what you wanted to do going into it and you had an idea of the systems. Which one maybe didn't work as well as you thought it should, and how did you overcome that?
Well, the one system that I think is always, you got to keep your eye on the ball, is really the retention system. And retention is just basically this. I mean, it is, how are you doing at retaining the members you've got? Are you losing more members than you're getting? If that's the case, you've got a real problem with retention. We can get into some of the more technical ways of how to identify the retention rate or the churn within your business. But really, it's, are you keeping as many members as you're losing? And then how can you decrease the number of members that you're losing and continue to increase the number of members that you're keeping? That one, like, there's so many factors involved. You just always have to keep your eye on that system and constantly be at work at it. Sometimes we did a really good job at it. Sometimes it fell by the wayside, and we would have to go to work on it again and really address it.
Gotcha. Yeah. And I have definitely felt that pain before, especially when I go and I get all gung ho on marketing, and don't pay as much attention. So I know you're an expert on this. So can you share with us maybe some of the reasons people quit to kind of start diving into that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just to ask, do you want me to give the 7 systems, or do you want to save that for a little bit later? We've teased the 7 systems a little bit, so I just want to make sure people might be wondering.
You know what? Why don't you go ahead and do a quick overview of them?
Okay.
And then let's see where it takes us.
I'll give you the 7 systems. I won't give you an overview. I'll just name the 7 systems really quick, and we'll come back to it like you mentioned. So if you're wondering what the 7 systems are, the first one is the content system. So content system. The second system is assimilation. So that system is, once you get a member, how do you assimilate them to be fully engaged in your membership program? Then there's the marketing system. And like you mentioned, like that's the one we can get really excited about and go gung-ho on, is your marketing system. Then is the retention system. How do you increase the number of members? How do you keep them from quitting? Then the ascension system. And that's an often missed system within membership businesses. How do you create a system where members ascend in your program, but also give them the opportunity to descend in your membership program? Next is the strategy system, constant never-ending improvement of your membership business. And then lastly is the leadership system. And that is, how are you growing as a business leader so that you can then lead your business? So those are the 7 systems. Michael, you were asking about why people quit. Well, I'm sorry, repeat your question there for me if you would.
Yeah, maybe if you could just jump into several of the more common reasons, and then maybe some ways people can either get ahead of that or overcome it when it comes up.
Yeah, so what I've been able to do over the years is identify some very common reasons that people quit your membership business. And then not only like what are those reasons, but then what can you actually do about it? And it's from not only my experience, but from working with other membership businesses and asking them, why are some reasons that people quit? So some of the most common reasons are, I'm just not that into it. So like for some reason, somebody gets really excited about your marketing, and then they sign up for your membership program. And then, they're kind of into it and they're doing it, but they're not really gung ho. But then all of a sudden they say, I'm really just not that into it. And really what they're saying is like, I'm not really using it. It's more on their end of it. And so what do you do when somebody says, I'm just not that into it? Well, I use what is actually a selling technique of feel, felt, found. If you want to write down those key words, feel, felt, found. And really the person who's perfected this is Tom Hopkins. So, I would recommend you pick up any book that he has on selling, and he'll break it down. But I break it down like this. If somebody said to me, if Micah, you said to me, hey, Scott, I'm just not that into your coaching, and so I need to quit. I need to cancel my membership in your coaching network. I would say, hey, Micah, I understand that, man. Other people have felt that way as well. And usually what I've found is that people feel that way because they're not utilizing it. So if you don't mind me asking, like, what have you been involved in? How have you utilized the coaching? How has it made an impact in you? Now, immediately, what I've done there is I've put you at ease by saying, I understand how you feel, that it's a common reason that people have given me for wanting to quit my membership program. Other people have felt that way too. And then I put it back to try to just learn a little bit more. It could be that you say, well, I've had some personal circumstances going on. We just maybe there was, something in family, like, just had a baby, or just had a kid go off to college, or whichever. But then when I get them to identify that, now then what I'm able to do is I'm able to, again, continue to put them at ease for canceling or wanting to cancel their membership. But now it gives me an opportunity to know how I might be able to better serve them. So if it was, for example, some sort of personal reason, I could then say to you, I could say, well, hey, Micah, man, I understand I understand what it's like to, have a new baby in the house and welcome a new child. I've got 2 daughters of my own. What if I did this? What if I gave you an extra 30 days, or I extended, 2 free months to you of the membership program so that you could adjust and, we could continue to work together, and I'll come alongside you to help get you back engaged, because I really believe this membership program will be able to help you in your business by you being able to increase the number of new people in your membership program or increase your retention. So now what I'm doing is I'm making them an offer. And that's what most membership businesses fail to do. Like, they just say, hey, you're wanting to quit, you're wanting to cancel your membership. I'll let you go. I won't charge your credit card anymore. That's it. Well, you really ought to make an offer. And so that's what I teach, is do the feel, felt, found, and then make an offer to them to continue to keep them re-engaged. Now, Mike, I know I just gave a lot of details there, so I'll let you unpack it and ask me more questions about it and how we can do that. But that is how I would battle the I'm just not into it excuse for why people would want to quit your membership program.
No, that's beautiful. And I think that, like you said, them saying I'm just not into it, it could be different things, right? It could be personal circumstances, them not taking the time, an excuse, whatever it happens to be. So I think that's great. What I am curious about is that usually something that needs to be done kind of over the phone one-on-one, or have you seen anyone implement that successfully in an automated way?
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. I have one of my golden rules in processing cancellations is never process a cancellation without a conversation. Like, we are in such a tech-heavy time in life. Like, everything is automated. Everything, we've got cell phones, we got social media, we've got all this sort of stuff. Like, reach out to them. Never process a cancellation without a conversation. Now, you might immediately say to me, well, Scott, well, what about their billing? And you might go to the technical side of it. Okay, you know what? you can go ahead and stop their subscription. You can do all of that to honor the fact that they're asking you to do that, and you don't want them to get charged, especially once they've told you they're quitting. But like, don't let them go. Never process that cancellation without a conversation. So yeah, I want you to call them up, or I want somebody on your team to call them up. If they really mean something to you, if your members really matter, how dare you not give them a call? If you really believe in your membership program, if you really believe that your membership program can help people financially, if you really believe that your membership program can help people become more healthy or healthier, if you really believe it can help them have better friendships, better relationships, be a better person, whatever it is that your membership business does, if you really believe in it, how dare you not call them up and value them as a member? So just make a commitment. Never process a cancellation without a conversation.
Got it. Yeah, and I've got that written down, as well as the feel, felt, found. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And it's interesting to me because we run a software company and we provide functionality. One of the functions we have is, you can put this on your page to let your members self-cancel. And I'm surprised because we don't actually let our software subscribers self-cancel. And I'm always surprised when people email in and they say, hey, I tried to find a way to cancel, but I couldn't find it. And so now I'm emailing support, and so we do have a little conversation with them. Probably we should get on the phone because those are just tickets, and it's a lot easier for them to not go into depth there. But yeah, it is interesting how many of them think they should be able to cancel automatically, and even how many of our clients request, like, hey, how do I make sure my members can cancel automatically? But yeah, I wrote that down. I think that's great advice.
And I'm all for the automation. So I'm not, I'm not against, having a cancellation button inside the membership site. I don't have one either, because I do try to very much practice what I teach and what I coach people on. And like all my members, they know, if they cancel on me, I'm calling them. I'll reply to their email, but I'm going to call them as well and have that conversation with them, because again, I believe in what I do. And so I'm all for the automation side of it, but what I have found is the reason that membership business owners don't want to follow up and have that conversation is that most of them take it as a personal, I'm going to use the word attack, but they take it personal. Gosh, somebody quit. Somebody is canceling. There's maybe it's self-esteem issue or performance issue that all of a sudden it's like being turned down on a date. I'm being told no. And so to not have that conversation is much easier than to have that conversation. It's a mental block. And so once you find yourself having these conversations and you really have the opportunity, if you notice it just in the example I gave you, my goal is I want to connect with them. I want to do everything I can to show that I do want to help. And so that's all I'm doing is, if a person still says to me at the end of the conversation, no, I just need you to cancel, man, what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make sure I leave an open door that they can come back at any time. And if I don't, rescue the cancellation in that moment, I'm at least creating a future opportunity to where, they're just not dead to me. They go back into my nurture sequence. They go back into a nurture campaign to where I can then put them on a prospect list to maybe regain them as a member later on. So once you find yourself as a membership business owner to really get beyond that mental block or that self-esteem issue or that performance issue of somebody's quitting on you, and look at it as, what can I do to help them? Because really that's what's going on. And Mike, I would say, especially in your business, as you're helping membership site owners, usually I would say if somebody's quitting your business, it's because their business is failing. They're not getting members. They're not getting people utilizing their online course or whichever. And so now they're just saying, well, I'm just going to shut this thing down. And so like, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to quit Membarium. Like, that's an opportunity then for you to come in and say, well, maybe something you're doing is wrong and we can help you get those members. Now you've gone beyond the software. And I know you guys do this with your events and your webinars and even this podcast resources like this, where, you have a vested interest in helping people get as many members or people to buy their courses as possible, because it helps you help your members.
Yeah, gotcha. And, I think to your point about the automation, being okay, like you said, so someone, as I understand what you're saying, someone could email you, they don't have to call you, but then you're going to call them back. So somebody,
Absolutely.
okay, so somebody could use maybe a button saying cancel, but that triggers a call.
It triggers a call, it triggers a notification. And I mean, I would suggest like that's all it does. So don't go to the extent of actually, canceling everything out and canceling the subscription billing and however you have that back end. I would have it set up to where it triggers a notification and somebody has to handle that cancellation. Like I've got to go in, and you can set up automation on the back end, but like I now have to, or somebody from my team now has to do something with that notification. And then, if I've got staff, I can hold staff accountable to how they're processing cancellations. If I'm a solopreneur, and then like I have to do something with it. So it's automated in the sense of a notification, and then I have to continue to follow up. And then that triggers, yes, I've got to make a phone call, or somebody's got to make a phone call.
Cool. Yeah. And I love the passion and I love the idea behind it. That if you really do believe in your membership, you should be making that effort. So sorry to dive into the technical. Sometimes I get a little bit like, oh, I wonder,
No, I mean, and that's really, this is good because like that's where a lot of membership business owners are, and especially those who are doing online courses. Like it's on the technical side of it, and we can swing the pendulum and be extremely technical and offer convenience at 100%, especially for us. But then, like when we do that, the other side of the pendulum is well, we're making it convenient, but we're not really helping at the same time. So finding that nice balance. So that's good.
Yeah, perfect. What's another pretty common reason you would say that people cancel, or another reason that they give for wanting to cancel?
Yeah, another reason would be is like I'm just feeling overwhelmed. I've got all of this online course. There's so much there. You provide all this content for those like myself who might also be doing offline mailings to our members. Like now I've got bonus kits. Members bonus kits that are stacking up on my desk. I've not used them. So I'm just getting all of this content. I'm getting all of these emails that are telling me what I should be doing. And so I'm just overwhelmed. Just to pause there. Is that one that you guys have heard, or any of your members you feel like have heard?
Oh yeah, especially where it is a little bit of a technical process. And a lot of times too, they're learning Infusionsoft, or they're learning not just Membarium, but WordPress, Infusionsoft, their content, their sales and marketing. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, so that's a great point right there. Sometimes the overwhelm isn't just from your what you provide. It's they've got to go implement it. So they've got to do things not only with what you're providing, but they now know if I'm going to utilize this, I have to get this over here, or I've got to make changes what I'm doing over here or over here and get other services in order to make it happen. And that adds to the overwhelmed feeling. And from my vantage point, being overwhelmed really is the number one reason why people quit. So again, using the feel, felt, found method, what I would say is Micah, I want you to know, man, just about everybody is that way. And I work really hard to do as much as I can to not make you feel overwhelmed. I don't always get it right, but I understand that you feel that way. And others have felt that way as well. And here's what they have found. that if you just focus in on watching this one video here, and I would, recommend what that video is based upon the conversation or what their, profile tells me, on what their interaction they've had with me or what they've done. Just focus in on this one thing here. So in my business, when somebody tells me, hey, Scott, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I've got the coaching calls each month. I've got the online course. I've got all of these bonus kits that I'm getting every month. And so I just need to cancel. What I would say is hey, listen, you know what? I do the coaching call because I want you to have access. And, people have often said that, my coaching is like drinking water from a fire hydrant. And so what I would recommend is, what if you just focused in on this one system over here, this one module from the course, and I supply to you the library of the coaching calls, and I give you the bonus kit every month so that it can be a part of your personal leadership. And then guess what? As you take vacations over the summer, or you've got some time where, you're in between books that you're reading or what, pull out the newsletter or pull out the transcript from one of the coaching calls and utilize it as your convenience. But really what is going to help you most is focusing in on this one piece here. So if I was to come alongside you over the next 30 days and I was to help you do that, Micah, would you be interested in staying on? And then I've told them, okay, I'm going to create, this is the key here. I'm going to create a membership pathway that is tailored just for you. It's tailored just for you. So I'm giving you personal attention. I'm giving you a personal recommendation, and I'm giving you a membership pathway that really I've got for everybody. Going back to the 7 systems, I've got a membership pathway for everybody, but now I'm tailoring it just for you. And I'm giving you permission to not feel like you have to utilize everything. So having a membership pathway is key, but also giving people permission to not have to feel like they're utilizing everything that you provide is a key. Because what we try to do as membership business owners and in the membership business niche or industry is we try to say, well, I'm charging people X amount of dollars, so I need to provide 3 times value what they're giving me. And what you end up doing is you end up overwhelming them. So if you create a membership pathway that you're going to take people through, and Membarium, you guys are really good at this, because when somebody signs up, there is a sequence there's a campaign that I've seen that you're telling people to go through and just do these things to get started. So that's part of your membership pathway. And if you don't have that as a membership business, if you just go back and look at what Membarium did, you're going to learn from them, their membership pathway of how they assimilated you. But then giving them permission to not feel like they have to use it all. So there's some features, or there's some resources, or there's some things that you're going to have in every membership business that, it's just okay that you don't use it. And I provide it to you so that you'll be able to have access to it regardless of when you want to come back to it. It's going to be a part of your library that you'll have access to for as long as you're a member.
So I love all the reframes in there of what the content is and how they can use it. And it's kind of cool, especially, I know more generally in all membership businesses, but it's kind of fun with membership sites, because back in the day, it was just like, oh, I'll give you, 50 hours of video and that's valuable. But now it is technically, if you're not super technical, it may not be quite easy, but it's so possible and within reach to really kind of tailor things nowadays to the user. And so it's not like some of this stuff is difficult. The other thing that kind of strikes me as you're talking about all this is, and you mentioned it earlier a little bit, or you touched on it, just how much like sales this is, like the retention system, or at least the save system on cancellations, how much of a kind of a reselling, or at least a selling process where, it's a matter of kind of presenting the value, getting some feedback, and kind of tailoring the presentation or framing it for the user, so that they feel like the values not overwhelming, and they're going to get what they need out of it.
Yeah, so you bring up a an interesting point, and it's one that I've observed as well, in the sense of most membership business owners, they treat their business as if it's a customer-based business instead of a membership-based business. And here's what I mean by that. When you have a customer-based business, basically you're just trying to chase the sale after the next sale after the next sale. You're trying to create sales. And so you get a sale, and I mean, like, okay, that's great. What can I sell them next? Membership-based businesses should operate differently. Like, we're not in the business of getting sales and customers. We're in the business of creating members. And so, like, you have to identify, like, what does that mean for your business? What is a member in your business? And then, like, when they join your business, they become a member, but in their mind, they've just made a transaction. They're not fully assimilated. They don't feel like a member. They're saying, okay, I'm going to try this thing out. But in your mind, it's like, okay, they're now a member, and then you're on to the next member. Like, let me go find another member, and let me create another member. Well, that's a customer-based business. Like, again, it's, chasing one sale after the next sale after the next sale, one customer after the next customer after the next customer. And they transfer that, most membership business owners transfer that to their membership business, where it's now, I've got them as a member, let me go find the next member. And membership businesses, you have to constantly resell your members on your business. So, like, most people think in membership business, and I teach this in the marketing system, like, yes, you should market to prospects and put them in nurture campaigns and send them to webinars and whatever your funnel may be for your members, for your prospects, in order to get them. But you should always be marketing your membership to your membership business as well. Now, I don't mean you send them the same marketing pieces. I mean, yeah, obviously you exclude them from any marketing and challenging them to sign up and become a member. Obviously, that's not what I'm saying. But they need to know that the reason they have access to whatever they have access to is because they are a member. And so you're constantly reselling them on the benefits of membership. So, hey, this is something that I only provide our members. So I do a coaching call, and I like, most people take it for granted that when they do coaching calls, like, everybody on the call knows it's only for, members of the coaching network. But I constantly remind them that, hey, part of, one of the benefits of being in my coaching network is that you have access to this coaching call. Other people don't. And so this is a members only coaching call. And what I'm doing is, and I'm telling them, you have access to this because you're a member. Other people don't. And I'm reselling them on their membership, and I'm marketing it to them in that way, just by communicating it's only for members. So I know I have a tendency, Micah, if you haven't figured it out, like, to, just over deliver on information there. So I know I mentioned a lot. So let me know if I need to go back and clarify.
No, I think that's actually perfect. Is there another really common reason people quit that we should dive into?
Let's talk about competitors here for a moment. So sometimes it's, hey, I found something else. And let me just say, I mean, people are polite. Most people, they want to be polite. They're not going to just come out and say, I've chosen to go with a different vendor or a different, membership program or what. They're going to, a lot of people are going to side skip it. So they're going to say, like, I've decided to do something else, or I've found something else. They're not going to come out and just say, well, I'm going to go with a different blank. You fill in the blank of whoever your competitor is. So in hearing that, that I found something else, what I would do is then say, there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of good organizations. There's a lot of good coaching. There's a lot of good insert your niche. But I just want to make sure that I'm doing everything that I can to help you. And so if you don't mind me asking me, how could I help you better and maybe help you alongside this something else that you found? And so what I'm doing again is again, I'm expressing the desire to continue to help them. I'm continuing to express that, I have your best interest at hand and I just want to help as much as I can. So if I have the opportunity to help alongside somebody else, I give them that opportunity to speak into it. That's usually where they'll end up saying like, well, I hate to say this, Scott, but I found another coach. And I really like how he presents things, and so I'd like to give him some time. Now I realize I'm back in selling mode. Okay. Like they've made a decision to go with this other coaching program or whatever it may be. Now I'm in selling mode and I can come in and say, listen, if I know that person, I'll compliment them. Like, if I know who they're in coaching with, I'll speak great things of them. I'll never say anything negative about competitors. Okay. And I would challenge you to make that commitment as well. Don't ever put yourself in a position to say negative about competitors, because your members may go there and then they'll never tell you about it and you'll wonder why they left. Well, it's because you made it known you don't like that competitor. So I'll compliment them if I really believe in what they're doing. I won't say anything about that competitor if I don't think it's a good thing or what. But my member who's canceling because of a competitor, they think they've made a good decision. Okay. My goal is not to tell them how bad that decision is. My goal then becomes, you know what? That could be a great decision for you and your business. I'm not sure. But what I would like to do is I'd like to have the opportunity to continue to help you alongside that other business. So now that you've got the best of both worlds, you've got what I'm able to provide for you and you've got what they're able to provide for you as well. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you X, insert an offer. Okay. I'll start out with, what if I just gave you an extra 30 days of membership? So that, you can decide that the decision you made, number one, is really one that you want to stick with. And, that way, if you get into this other membership over here and you decide it's not right for you, you still have access to your membership here. Or I'll give a 2-month, a 2-month membership for free and give them the opportunity to say, hey, I want you to make sure that this decision is right for you. I know you're making an investment over there as well as your investment here. So what if I gave you 2 free months? Now, there's a lot of reasons why I do that. One is I know my competitors are never going to offer, 30 days or 2 free months of what they provide. I will. I know how much I spent to get a member, part of knowing your numbers. I know how much I spent to get them in my coaching program to begin with. So I'm willing to spend that again just to keep them as a member and willing to allow them to have another free trial. Now, obviously, if somebody's in the free trial and they're saying, I'm going to cancel all that, I'll come at it with a different offer. The thing is you have to know what your offer is. So I gave you a one-liner earlier in saying never process a cancellation without a conversation. My follow-up to that is never have a conversation without an offer. So when you get into that conversation, I want you to always have an offer that you're prepared to make that member so that you can rescue them from canceling. And every membership business, has to figure that out. Like, some of you might not be structured in a way that you can give 2 free months or 1 free month. But maybe there's an extra piece of content. Maybe there's another resource that you can provide and give them as a result of that. So let's say, you don't provide coaching on like how to do financial business or what, it's not part of your repertoire, but you do have a resource over here. And so, you could say, well, I understand, hey, part of what you're getting over there from that network is this content piece here. I've got something similar over here. What if I gave you that as a bonus to your membership? So look at your content, what I call the content catalog, and find something that you can offer people and make those offers to them based upon your membership business.
Nice. Yeah, just these three main things that we've talked about, the competitor, the overwhelm, and the, not being into it and whatever kind of sub reasons there is so valuable. I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have my support team go through this as a training, just because it's so simple. It can be a little bit subtle. If someone on the call is a developer and has never been in sales, for example, and honestly, a lot of membership site business owners that we deal with are really experts in their subject matter. They're not maybe marketing or sales experts. So just to point out, like, the subtleties that Scott's sharing are really important. They're really, kind of, I don't want to say it's too deep, or what's the word I'm looking for there? They're just strong sales techniques, really valuable stuff.
Yeah. And again, you made the point there. So like in my emails, my title was membership expert. And just to say, like, I don't like going around saying I'm a membership expert. It's not one of those things. I mean, nobody likes to call themselves an expert. But what I've recognized is from like my coaching, people ask, like, what businesses do I coach? And I coach all membership businesses. Because if I was to ask you, like Micah, like if I was to ask you, what business are you in? I mean, you might have an answer, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but some other people on your staff might say, well, we're in the software business. We're in this business over here. We're in the technology business, and we're in this business. But regardless, I would say you're in the membership business. Okay. Your niche or your specialty or your service that you provide is those things over there. But I would hope that basically if you call your customers members, you're in the membership business. That's what you're in. So forget your niche, forget your specialty, forget your expertise. You're in the membership business, and you've got to become an expert on members, because all the members think the same way. Like those excuses, Micah, that we talked about, like they exist in every membership business. You've got to become an expert at membership as it relates to your particular niche or your area of service or whatever it is that you provide. So, people ask me again, like, what niches do you work with? And I don't have to be an expert in your particular area. I can tell you everything you need to know about members, and you apply it to that particular niche or to that particular area that you serve in.
Yeah, I like it. It's a lot of when I mentioned the membership site owners that we deal with, them being experts in their subject matter, that can be really random things like classical guitar or, woodworking. It can be all these different things. And so, yeah, just them knowing, I'm not in the guitar business. I'm not in the woodworking business. I'm in the membership business. And I'd like to kind of transition what we're talking about. So those are perfect. Those ways to overcome and to kind of handle and manage and retain the most members based on the reasons people quit. Let's talk more broadly about the membership business. So can you go a little bit deeper into some of the 7 systems now and just kind of tie that together?
Yeah, so let's go back to those 7 systems. And just to say, one of the reasons why people quit your membership business is you don't have systems in place. So like they're there, but you've not gone to work on those systems. So, part of keeping people from quitting is part of that retention system. So let me break down, going back to those 7 systems, and unpack those 7 systems. And Micah, feel free to interrupt me, and we can talk about each one along the way. Otherwise, I'll just cover all of them. But if you want to interrupt me and say, hey, Scott, talk about that a little bit more, let me know. So
okay.
The first system is content. And I really do start every membership business with content. Now, for some of you, it might be like literal content that you teach through your membership site. But then others, it might be like a menu of services. that you provide. So what I mean by that is what is it that you're going to give your members? That is your content, whether it's a service or you're teaching or you're coaching or you're providing a course for. What is all the content that you have access to? So then you've got your content, and you can build your membership business off of that. There's also other people's content. Like, so there are membership businesses out there, and especially in the information marketing world, where, you know, I'm going to own other people's content, or I'm going to be an affiliate relationship, and I'm just going to market other people's content. Well, you have access to that as well. So other people's content. And then I break it down that you've got to have a content catalog. So what is all the content that you have access to? What is all the content that you have access to through other people? Break that into a catalog. Then I want you to categorize it. Now, a lot of people say to me, well, you know, what are those categories? Well, you got to figure it out for your business. You can categorize it any way you want. What's important is not the categories or the number of categories. It's how you're going to utilize those categories. So I want you to categorize your content in such a way that you can manage it and use it. Then after you have your catalog and all of your content is categorized, I want you to put it on a calendar. Most membership businesses, what they're doing is they're saying, okay, what am I going to provide next month? Well, I don't want you to do that. Like, I want you to have 6 months or, you know, even a year of, here's my calendar of what I'm going to provide and when. So I don't want you to ever have to guess as a membership business owner. I don't want you to ever have to guess what you're going to provide your members. And the reason I started out everybody out there is because most people in starting a new membership business, they think, well, I'm not sure if I've got the content. You know, some people say, well, I'm going to create an online course and I'm not sure I have the content to do a complete course. Well, if you write down all of the content, you catalog it, you put it in categories, and you put it on a calendar, whether you're going to drip it, you know, week by week or month by month or every 2 weeks, however you're going to drip it. I mean, you basically just outlined your course, and you can outline your membership business that way. So that's the content system. Now, most people, after they figure out that, they immediately want to jump over to marketing. And I'm all for quick action, and I'm all for trying to get members as quickly as possible. But I don't recommend that yet, because here's what I want for you to have as a membership business owner. I want you to have an assimilation system. You've got it already in place. It's just a matter of if it's healthier or strong or not. So the assimilation system is how do you take somebody who has just joined your membership program? How do you assimilate them to get them fully engaged in your program? So I want you to know what every new member, and here's 3 key words. I want you to know what every member is going to receive, believe, and achieve. Receive, believe, and achieve. So I said earlier that, you know, Michael, when somebody joins a membership program, they don't call themselves a member yet. They just made a transaction. They whipped out their credit card. It's a transactional process for them. They're not a member yet. Most membership business owners, they say, well, I just got a new member. Yay, we celebrate that. But we have to go back and say, well, what do we want them to receive? So when somebody signs up, immediately, I want them to get like 2 emails from me. One is a receipt. So I want them to have a record of their joining, and I want them to have a receipt, and it outlined, like, you know, the terms and conditions of joining the membership. Then I want them to have a second email that's separate. The first email is all business. The second email, I want it to be a welcome email. And I want to give them the first 2 to 3 items, not 7, not 12, just 2 to 3 things that I want them to do. So I want them to watch a welcome video from me. I want them to log into their membership site, and I want them to change their password on their membership site, because I want them to memorize that. Plus, I call that an engagement tripwire. I can go in and I can see, you know, who's done that. So immediately, that's what I want from that first email. That's what I want them to get in the first hour. Then what do I want them to get in the first day? What do I want them to get in the first week? What do I want them to get in the first month? What do I want them to get in the first quarter, the first 6 months, and the first year? That's the assimilation process and figuring out what do I want them to receive. If you answer those questions just on receiving end, you're going to do far more than any of your competitors are ever doing. Then, like, I want them to believe certain things. So if somebody joins your membership program, it's usually because they have a certain set of beliefs. It may or may not be in alignment with your business. So Micah, just drilling down on Membarium for a moment, part of like what you guys have to do in the sense of, getting people to believe, and you do great at this in the sense of you guys being an actual resource for them, that you're not just a software or a service provider for people, that you're actually helping businesses grow, membership businesses grow. And you guys do a great job at that. And that's part of identifying, what do we want people to believe? We want people to believe that we're just more than this. We also want people to believe this and believe that. So identifying those beliefs and where people are and what you want them to believe. Then what do you want them to achieve? What do you want them to achieve? So, what are those steps? What are the engagement, what I call, and I've coined as the engagement tripwire, and really it's plural, engagement tripwires, so that I want them to have a quick win with their membership business. And I try to identify that with businesses I work with on a higher level. But essentially, like, I'm telling them, I just want them to log in, and I want them to begin the course. And I want them to start achieving that and feel, whether it be a badge on their course or whichever, I want them to have a sense of accomplishment in utilizing the membership. So that's assimilation. It's one of my favorite systems that I've identified because I really believe if you get the assimilation system correct in the beginning, it's going to cut down on your churn, and it's going to cut down on the number of people that are quitting your membership. Then the next system is marketing. That's the system where you identify, your ideal prospect. It's Dan Kennedy calls it the message market media match. And I spent 2 years in Dan's highest level, for those of you who know Dan Kennedy, in his Titanium network. And I've just not found anything better in that marketing triangle that is identified as finding the ideal market, your prospects, with the ideal message. What is the pain point? What is the offer that you've got to be able to make to them? Identifying how you can help them, and then what is the right media? Is it social media? Is it direct mail? Is it email marketing? Is it Facebook advertising, LinkedIn? And so having that message market media match for your marketing. Then next is the retention system. And that's all about creating a ladder that's all about giving people relationships and results in your membership business. What I have found is that people who have a relationship, whether it be with you or with other members, so there's an affinity within the membership business, they have some sort of relationship there to get them and keep them connected. But people just don't rely on just relationships alone. They want results. Like, they're paying you, they're making an investment here. They want to see that you're going to provide for them and that they're going to have that achievement and success as a result, that they're going to leave differently than they came as part of your membership business. So the better you can provide a relationship, whether it be with you, staff, key people, whoever, people in your sphere of influence, whatever, but also results, you'll have a greater retention. Part of the retention system also is having a pain of disconnect. Now, Micah, Membarium has got a very big pain of disconnect. I mean, somebody cancels Membarium, like, their business can shut down. I mean, all of a sudden, like their members don't have access to courses and so forth. So I want you to have a pain of disconnect in your membership business that when somebody quits or cancels, all of a sudden they're going to experience some level of pain as a result of it. And when you have a really good pain of disconnect, it'll increase your retention as well. Next is your ascension system. The ascension system is about creating different levels in your membership business so that you can move people up and down your ascension ladder within your business. So for those who do coaching, I like for coaching businesses to have 3 levels. I've found that coaching businesses that have 4 levels, really one of those levels is just being cannibalized by one of the other levels or what. So I like for you to have 3 levels of membership in your program. And if you're doing online courses, and you're thinking, well, all I do is provide online courses. Well, if you've got more than one course, you can create an ascension system just by saying, well, you've completed this course, after this course comes the next course. And so you've got an ascension system there to where you can continue to move people on and upward in your membership program. So I want you to have that opportunity to ascend in your program. And by having that, when somebody cancels, you also have a descension process. So for example, in my business, if somebody comes to me and says, Scott, hey, I just need to, cancel my membership, I can tell them that, well, hey, if you cancel your membership, you're going to lose access to all of these items over here. However, if you downgrade your membership, you'll continue to have access to A, B, and C, and it'll be a lesser investment. You just won't have access to D, E, and F. So, I'd hate for you to lose access to everything that you've built up here in our coaching time together. So if you're interested, I've got a level here that you can downgrade to, and it will continue to have access, and it will continue to give us a greater opportunity to work together in the future. And a lot of times, that's, it's like an oh crap moment. Like, I'm going to lose access to this stuff, pain of disconnect. Yeah, I want to descend, and it's worth the investment here to descend and go downgrade to this next level here. So I want you to have an ascension ladder. It's an ascension system in your membership business so that you can upgrade and downgrade people to. Plus, just to say it, you create greater profits in your business by being able to get more from members who, you're granting more access to them. Next is the strategy system. And that is the constant and never-ending improvement of your business. It's the principle of CANEI, CANEI, constant and never-ending improvement. That's all about knowing your numbers. You have to know your numbers, so you have to know how many new members you got over the past month. You need to know how many people canceled their membership over the past month. If you already have different levels of membership, you need to know that for every level of membership. You need to know your return on investment for your marketing. Most people, they just do marketing and it's all one big budget. But, what you might find out is that there's one piece of marketing out there that's only getting you 5 members. And there's another piece out there that's getting 10 members. But yet the piece that gets you 10 members, like nobody stays after 2 months. But the people who got 5, that you're getting 5 members for after 2 months, 5 members are still there. And so your retention rate is extremely high on the one that's 5. Most people will say, hey, the marketing piece that's getting me 10, I'm just going to stop the one that's getting me 5 and just go after the 10. And that's a bad decision because after 2 months, the 10 are all gone. So if you don't know your numbers, you're going to be making some bad decisions as part of that. So I talk about the numbers you need to know in your membership business as part of that, and then going to work on it and constantly looking for opportunities to tweak your business. And membership businesses, all it takes is 1 or 2% changes in your retention rate, and you've added thousands of dollars to your membership business potentially. So knowing those numbers. And then lastly is the leadership the leadership system. So how are you doing at leading yourself, personal leadership? What books are you reading? What conferences are you going to? What seminars are you attending? I mean, I'll just do a plug here. Micah didn't ask me to do this, but if you're not going to the conference that Membarium has, I mean, you're doing a disservice to your members. You need to be there. So like, you need to be studying that. You need to be looking at other businesses and growing yourself so that you can be a better leader and grow your business. And then what are you doing to evaluate your business? A lot of people say, it's learning from experience. And that's a bad thing. I'll just say, if part of your mantra is, well, you learn from experience, like, that's just wrong. You learn from evaluated experience. So looking at your experience, how are you evaluating your experience and what you're learning? So I want you to evaluate those things. I just don't want you to chalk it up and say, well, lesson learned, you learn from experience. No, you learn from evaluated experience. And then what are you applying? What are you applying in your business? What are you applying in your personal life that can help? What application are you making every month so that you can continue to grow? Because most people say, well, I read, a book this month and I'm on to the next book. Well, what are you applying from that book? It doesn't matter to me how many books you read over the course of a year. I want to know what you're applying. What are 2 to 3 things that are working really well in your business? What are 2 to 3 things that aren't working well in your business that you're going to change? Then, what are you developing? How are you developing staff? How are you developing yourself? How are you developing, maybe you've got some freelancers that you're working with. How can you leverage those freelancers so that ultimately you can get to paid staff? So that you're just not happy with the status quo. So those are the 7 systems. Spent a lot of time on each one, but feel free to ask me any questions. How can I clarify or go back and answer any questions you might have?
You know what? Thank you for sharing them, because I feel like I've been at school today. It's so good. And I know, or at least I think that it's good because you're out there doing it every day and helping people with it and getting results. But it's just like, man, that's a really concise overview of the most important things. And one kind of comment I want to make from my personal experience about the leadership system. A number of years ago, I had been really successful selling a membership site, and I was really good at the subject matter, and I thought, oh, I've made it. I'm good. And I kind of went to sleep. I wasn't reading books. I wasn't traveling. I wasn't doing anything. And it was, I'm sure you can see into the future of that story. It just came to, the business didn't completely end, but basically I started losing members. And when I was that far behind the game, it wasn't something I could recover from quickly. It's not like, oh, I'm losing members, I can just get back on the bandwagon. No, I'd gotten lazy, complacent. And so now, I really try to read a lot, for one thing. It's just a modality that I like. But yeah, I mean, it's, especially in tech or marketing or whatever, it's so easy to fall out of favor. And so it's kind of like that pride goeth before the fall. I thought I was doing well, and it's like, oh, I know stuff and I'm doing well with this business. And I didn't pay attention, to that aspect of leadership. And I lost tons of members, tons of money, tons of time, rebuilding after that. It was just never as good. So yeah, I just want to second that last one, especially.
Well, and Micah, first off, let me just say, it takes a lot to be able to admit that. So, kudos to you on recognizing it and admitting it, and then being willing to do something about it. What I've found is that a lot of people, they'll never do that. They'll blame it on the marketing. Oh, Facebook must have changed the algorithm, or, that marketing piece doesn't work anymore, or they'll blame, the thing that got them the success in the beginning. And, they'll blame that, as opposed to, what, I really screwed up. I got lazy. I chose not to learn anymore, and they won't take that. So, let me just say that as an encouragement to you. It takes a high level leader to be able to say, you know what, I screwed it up because I stopped learning, and I stopped going to work on myself. It's easy to do as well, Micah, because we're in recurring revenue. So like we just look at it and say, well, my cash forecast for the next month off of my, subscriptions is going to be X amount of dollars. And, I don't have to even really work for it now. I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to be looking at other businesses. I've got recurring revenue. And then all of a sudden when that recurring revenue begins to drop, and it doesn't drop off like a whole lot. Like, I mean, just say if your recurring revenue, I'm just going to throw a number out here. If your recurring revenue is, $10,000 a month, the month that you hit 9,000, you're like, well, maybe a couple things happened there, so it's not a big deal. And then it's like the month that all of a sudden it's 8,000, it's like, okay, I need to keep an eye on this. But then all of a sudden it's like, that it drops down to 6,000. Then you go into frantic mode, like, okay, now I'm down $6,000. I'm down $4,000. I'm down to 6. And now you're trying to you're in emergency mode. Well, you didn't do anything when it dropped the first month. You didn't do anything when it dropped the second month. And now all of a sudden you're in frantic mode. You're in emergency mode, trying to figure out what's going on here. Well, we don't respond well and we don't lead well in the midst of being frantic and having that emergency, mindset. We make poor decisions and so forth. So catching it on the front end and looking at those numbers and not being lazy about your business and saying, I'm going to not just rely on the fact that it's a recurring revenue. I'm going to be proactive about my business and always seek to improve myself and my leadership.
Yeah. No, it's because especially when that trend, is carried on for a couple of months, there's a momentum to that downward trend. And so it's not just like, oh, I'll fix it,
Yeah. I'll give you another example that's applicable to our listeners. It works that way for assimilation as well, and cancellation. So a lot of people know, like, in a lot of membership businesses, a lot of people will quit at the third month of their membership. And, it might be a little bit different for you, but whatever that drop off point is, it doesn't matter when, just as long as you know it. But let's say for like most membership businesses, it's at the third month. What they begin to do is they begin to say, well, people cancel at the third month. So we need to change something at the third month to keep people from quitting. Well, what you don't realize is that what you did in month 1 and in month 2 is what led them to month 3. You can't say that, hey, it's all of a sudden people are canceling and quitting at month 3 and we got to go to work on month 3 real quick. You got to look at month 1 and month 2 and say, what did we do there? Because the decision is made in month 3. So we need to attack that before they get to month 3. And so looking at your business in such a way of you're forecasting it and saying, okay, if this is happening at this time period, we got to get ahead of it and get in advance of it and go to work on it before they even get to that point. So not just in your leadership, but also in the way of your members quitting on you. When you know your drop off point and you're able to say, okay, if it's happening at this point here, we need to back up and see what we're doing, not just on that month that it's happening, but on the months, weeks leading up to it, so that we can put something in place that catapults them over that decision of canceling their membership.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because a lot of people do exactly that. Oh, they quit in month 4. Let me fix month 4. That's
we got to change that email.
Yeah.
Month 4, we got to change that email. No. It's not the email that you're sending on month 4. Like it's all the stuff that you're not doing in months 1 through 3.
Yep, and honestly, for a lot of people, they don't even know that. So it's like, kudos for knowing the right month, but your approach to fixing it, is absolutely the right approach. Get ahead of it. So a couple of things here. One is on, the leadership system. Again, it reminds me of, I was at an event and it was a really high-end event. And there's a guy speaking there actually about selling high-end programs. And I was walking up some stairs with him and I was like, because my family and everybody was there as this nice resort. And I was saying, I'm not going to be able to go to the thing. I've got some other stuff. Can you give me the 30-second overview, right? And it's an unfair question for a whole topic, but he did a really good job. And I'll share at least one of them because I think it really applies to everything here. And the other two, people have to hit me up about. But the one that he shared that I just thought was so simple is he said, if you want to sell high-end programs, you need to enroll in high-end programs yourself. And it's like developing yourself at that level. Like you said, you've been at the highest level of Dan Kennedy's thing. And so I would just say, and Scott didn't ask me for this, but I'm really loving this whole interview. If you're running a membership site and you want to do better at it, then, find somebody, pay some money, invest in yourself, sign up, for example, with Scott and do some of his coaching. Take anything you can from anybody, any courses, go to the events, like he said, but find the expert who can really lead you there, because the recurring revenue, when you're getting it and it seems easy, it seems like all profit. I know from my experience that if you don't not only invest in yourself, learning and educating yourself, but invest some of that money somehow back into it in some way, then at some point that momentum is going to turn on you. So if you want to keep it going in the right direction, do something about it. Use some of that money for something really positive and proactive. And so I just think, a lot of membership site business owners, they do try to add coaching, for example, as one of their levels of ascension. And so I would encourage everybody to reach out to Scott and talk to him. And Scott, you've been really generous with your time and information. I've loved this whole thing. I really appreciate it. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and ask some follow-up questions or learn more about you, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, well, two things. You can go to my website, scottwhitakerconsulting.com. It's a very long URL, I know. Scott, SCOTT, Whitaker, WHITAKER, consulting.com. And you can connect with me there. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. You can connect with me there. I'm not a big social media guy. I use social media for marketing and all that, but I don't tweet and all that sort of stuff. But best way is scottwhitakerconsulting.com. But I've also, I've got a book, Micah, that it's the Why People Quit Your Membership Program and What You Can Do About It. And if you want to pick up a free digital copy of that book, you can go to scottwhitakerconsulting.com/Membarium. And that's the special website that I've put up, special webpage that I put up for this podcast. It's scottwhitakerconsulting.com/Membarium. And, I'd be glad to connect with you, be glad to, give you some free consulting. I do that as I have the discretionary time available to do it. And if we work together, I'd love to have you my coach. And what I tell my members, Micah, is like, I put myself on the spot. Like, I've got to do what I coach people on. So if I'm not doing what I coach people on, like, it's bad. People aren't going to stay. They're going to quit my membership because it's like all of a sudden this guy says he, to do this, but he's not even doing it. So like part of my business is I've got to do what I coach other people to do. Otherwise, I'm losing members. So I'm glad to say my retention rate is extremely high because I do try to say, just if you watch my business and you watch what I do, you'll be able to improve your business as well. That's my goal for you.
Perfect. And so one last question here. If you could go back through, let's just say the last 5 years or so, and change something about what you've been doing, make some sort of change that would have improved where you're at, what would it have been?
Man, that's a really good question. So to say this, I don't know when this podcast is necessarily playing back, but like my business is somewhat new in the regards of like I was with that coaching business with Nelson Searcy and leading the coaching business for pastors. Honestly, I probably would have done this earlier. I probably would have said, I can help a whole lot of membership businesses by getting new members and starting this earlier than I did. And, it's one of the things I look back on and, I try not to have too many regrets or what, but I probably would have been like, I should have started this sooner because it is something that membership business owners need. There's not a whole lot out there. There's a lot out there on creating online courses, and there's a lot out there about, how to do this or how to do that. But I really don't know anybody else who is out there saying, this is how to build a membership business. And so I would have done it earlier. I have a great time doing it. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy knowing that when my members get new members, I can celebrate that just like they would. When they're able to keep people from quitting, I can celebrate that because like I'm seeing what I coach come into fruition through their business. And so it's a lot of joy in doing that.
Yeah, gotcha. No, I can feel that for sure. And that hopefully for those of you listening, is maybe a cue to get going a little quicker, still go in the right order, still be smart about it, but you're not going to look back and regret, that you started earlier rather than later. You're probably going to be happier that you just jumped on it, even if you had to learn somewhat along the way,
Yeah, and just to unpack that just a little bit, because I mean, like, there's probably people listening that are saying, I think I've got something within me. I've got a course within me. I'm just not sure. And so there's that fear. And that fear is a great thing to have. Like, embrace that fear. Don't let it paralyze you in the sense of, well, what if people don't sign up? What if I spend all my time on doing this? What if I invest all this money? Notice I used the word invest. It wasn't spend. What if I invest all this money on a website and, doing all these things and then nobody signs up? Well, you can go down that road, but the other side of it is if you don't do it, it's not going to happen either. So embrace the fear, face it, run it down, and create it. Go to work on it. Go to work on yourself and think through your own mindset. Get that corrected, and get it done. If you're holding on to an online course right now and you're just not sure, make a decision today that you're going to do it, and get it done and start putting it out there for others to benefit from.
I think that is perfect advice to end on. Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
You've been listening to the More Members Now podcast with Scott Whitaker. To find out more about Scott or learn how you can grow your membership business, visit membershipmultipliers.com. Or you can also get a free copy of Scott's brand new book, Accelerate, How to Get Your Next 10, 100, 500, or 1,000 members. Just go to acceleratemymembership.com.